You know that moment when you get home from work and just collapse. Not physically tired, something deeper. Like you've been holding your breath for 8 hours straight. Here's what nobody tells you. That exhaustion, it's not from the work, it's from the performance. I used to think everyone felt this way, that everyone rehearsed their meeting contributions 3 times in their head, that everyone spent Sunday nights practicing their Monday morning small talk, that everyone needed 2 hours of silence after work just to remember who they actually were. Turns out, I was wrong. See, some of us, and if you're watching this, probably you, we're running 2 jobs simultaneously. The job we're paid for, and the exhausting full-time gig of pretending to be neurotypical, of wearing what I call the corporate mask. And here's the kicker. The better you are at wearing that mask, the faster you burn out. The high performers, the ones everyone thinks have it all together, we're usually the first to crash. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why this happens, what it's really costing you, and most importantly, how to reclaim your energy without sacrificing your career. Let me paint you a picture of my Tuesday morning last year. I'm in the elevator transforming, shoulders back, smile ready, energy up. By the time those doors open, I'm not me anymore. I'm corporate me, the version that makes eye contact even though it feels like sandpaper, the version that laughs at the right moments in meetings, even when the joke isn't funny, the version that says, "Great question," when someone interrupts my flow for the 3rd time. This is masking. And whether you're diagnosed ADHD, autistic, highly sensitive, or just wired differently, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's what's actually happening in your brain when you mask. Every social interaction requires manual override. While neurotypical folks run social situations on autopilot, you're manually operating every gesture, every response, every facial expression. It's like driving a stick shift in stop-and-go traffic while everyone else has automatic transmission. A study from the University of London found that masking autistic traits increases cortisol levels by 50%. 50%. That's your stress hormone, pumping through your system all day, every day, just from pretending to be normal. But here's what that study didn't measure: the accumulated cost. Because masking isn't just tiring, it's compound interest on exhaustion. Think about your highest performing colleague who suddenly quit, the star employee who just disappeared, the manager who went from crushing it to taking indefinite leave. We call it burnout, but it's more specific than that. It's masking burnout. It's the inevitable crash that comes from running 2 operating systems simultaneously for too long. Want to know the cruelest irony? The better you mask, the worse it gets. Here's why. When you mask successfully, people have no idea you're struggling. You've gotten so good at the performance that you've made yourself invisible. Your needs? Invisible. Your challenges? Invisible. Your accommodation requirements? But you seem fine. I call this the competence trap. You mask so well that you get promoted. More responsibility, more meetings, more social demands, more masking required. It's a spiral that only goes one direction. I learned this the hard way. 3 years ago, I was killing it. Top performer, leading projects, getting invited to everything, and dying inside. My Sunday anxiety started on Saturday, then Friday, then it was just constant. The breaking point came during a team building event. You know the type. Loud restaurant, forced fun, networking. I excused myself to the bathroom 4 times just to breathe. Sat in a stall, head in my hands, wondering how I'd become someone who needed to hide in bathrooms to survive my career. That night, I made a decision. I was done pretending the cost was normal. Here's what I discovered. The most successful neurodivergent professionals? They're not the best maskers. They're the ones who learn to work with their wiring, not against it. They're the ones who found what I call the sustainable sweet spot. That place where you're professional enough to thrive, but authentic enough to survive. Let's flip the script for a second. What if masking isn't protecting you? What if it's actually holding you back? Think about it. When you're spending 60% of your energy on performance, you've only got 40% left for actual performance. You're literally handicapping yourself. While your neurotypical colleague is operating at full capacity, you're running at less than half. Not because you're less capable, but because you're doing twice the work. But here's where it gets interesting. When neurodivergent professionals reduce masking by even 25%, productivity increases by an average of 30%. That's not my opinion. That's data from Microsoft's Neurodiversity program. Why? Because that energy you were using to maintain the mask, it's suddenly available for actual work, for innovation, for the pattern recognition and deep thinking that your different brain excels at. I started an experiment. I called it strategic unmasking. Not dropping the mask entirely, that's career suicide in most environments, but selective, intentional moments of authenticity. Started small, stopped forcing eye contact during deep thinking, started saying, I need to process that instead of giving half-baked immediate responses. Began scheduling camera-off meetings when possible. The response shocked me. My manager said I seemed more confident. Colleagues started coming to me for the real perspective on projects. My work quality improved so much that people started asking what had changed. What changed? I stopped apologizing for my operating system. Okay, let's get practical. Here's exactly how you start reducing the mask without risking your reputation. First, the energy audit. For 1 week, track your masking moments, not to judge, to observe. When do you feel most exhausted? Which interactions drain you most? Which masks feel heaviest? I use a simple scale, 1 to 5. 5 is full mask, performing at maximum. 1 is authentic you. Track every interaction. You'll start seeing patterns. For me, large meetings were 5s, one-on-ones with my trusted colleague, 2s. Second, the strategic disclosure framework. You don't need to announce your neurodivergence to everyone, but strategic vulnerability with key people changes everything. Here's the script I used with my manager. I work best when I can process information before responding. Would it be okay if I took notes during our meetings and followed up with thoughts via email? Notice I didn't say, I'm neurodivergent. I stated a need and proposed a solution. Most managers care about results, not your methodology. Third, environmental architecture. Stop fighting your environment, design it. Schedule transition buffers between meetings, even 5 minutes. Create communication preferences and share them. I think best in writing is perfectly professional. Batch similar activities. Don't context switch between deep work and social tasks. Find your restoration rituals. For me, it's walking outside between video calls. Phone off, just movement and quiet. Fourth, the ally strategy. Find one person, just one, who gets it. Someone you can be real with. They become your corporate translator, your reality check, your safe space. Mine was someone from IT, quiet guy. We started eating lunch together in silence, just sitting, not talking. It was revolutionary. That 30 minutes of not performing saved my career. Fifth, boundary scripts that work. I need to think about that. Can I get back to you tomorrow? I work better with written communication. Could you email me the details? I have a hard stop at 5 p.m. for a commitment. The commitment is to your sanity. I'm at my capacity for today. Let's revisit this tomorrow when I can give it proper attention. These aren't excuses. They're professional boundaries that increase your effectiveness. Here's what happens when you start unmasking strategically. First 2 weeks, terrifying. You'll feel exposed, vulnerable. Your anxiety will scream that everyone notices. Everyone's judging. They're not. They're thinking about their own stuff. Month 2, you'll notice you have energy after work. Not bouncing off walls energy, but presence. You'll remember what you actually like doing. Month 3, your work quality improves significantly because you're not exhausted. You're not spending Sunday dreading Monday. You're actually using your brain for thinking, not performing. 6 months in, you'll look back and not recognize the person who thought bathroom breaks were the only way to survive corporate life. But here's the real transformation, and nobody talks about this. When you stop masking completely, you give others permission to drop theirs too. The colleague who always seems stressed, they might open up about their anxiety. That manager who's super rigid might admit they need structure because of their own wiring. You become a beacon for authenticity in a world of performance. Can I be honest about something? The corporate world wasn't built for us. It was built for neurotypical, extroverted processors who thrive on interruption and ambiguity. Every open office, every quick sync, every let's brainstorm. It's all designed for brains that don't work like ours. But here's what I've learned. The future of work, it's neurodiverse. Companies that create space for different types of thinking are the ones innovating, the ones solving complex problems, the ones retaining talent. Your different brain isn't a bug. It's a feature, but only if you stop apologizing for it. The mask you're wearing, it's not protecting you from judgment. It's protecting the system from evolution. Every time you mask, you're reinforcing the idea that there's only one right way to be professional. There isn't. So here's my challenge for you. This week, choose one meeting, just one, and reduce your mask by 25%, not removing it, just loosening it. Maybe you don't force eye contact. Maybe you say, I need to think about that. Maybe you turn your camera off. Maybe you take notes instead of verbally processing. One meeting, one small act of authenticity. Then notice. Notice your energy after. Notice if anyone even mentions it. Notice how it feels to be even slightly more yourself. Because here's the thing. You can't sustain a career on performance. Trust me, I tried. But you can build a brilliant career on authenticity, on bringing your actual strengths to the table, on working with your brain instead of against it. That exhaustion you feel, it's not weakness. It's not that you can't handle corporate life. It's the natural result of running 2 operating systems simultaneously. You're not broken. The system just wasn't designed for you. But instead of waiting for the system to change, you can start changing how you navigate it, one unmasked moment at a time. Your different brain is exactly what your workplace needs. They just don't know it yet, but they will. When you stop hiding it, remember, your energy is finite, your masking is expensive, and your authenticity, it's more professional than any performance you could give. See you next week, where we'll talk about why quiet quitting might actually be boundary setting, and why that's exactly what your neurodivergent brain needs to thrive. Until then, stay different. The world needs it.